former professional boxer, Mr. Darryn Bushbye. Yeah, a couple of Baldies, a couple of Mitchell brothers now.
I'm trying to work out who's got less hair, me or you.
Well, I got a few little tufty bits burning.
Yeah.
I first became aware of you, Darryn, when you started boxing as a pro on some of Paul Boyce's shows in Oceania. Yeah. But before we talk about those fights, obviously you were an amateur boxer as well. Just can you tell us how you first became involved in boxing?
Yeah, I remember. Let's say I remember. It was early 90s. I trained in Spud Brophy's gym in the Premier, but only for a couple of weeks. One really for me. But then I was like, oh, do you know, I didn't really give that my all. So I ended up joining a gym called Montana. Boxed for them. They were just like in the Manston area. And I boxed for a guy, I don't know, Peter Curvis, Cliff and Brian Curvis's brother. I think he was a younger brother, actually. He was the coach of the gym. I probably had, I don't know, I want to say I had about 7 fights for him. I think I've lost my first 5 or 6. And after that, I was only about 11 years of age. I had my first fight in Gilbert. Right. In Remembrance Day, funny enough, which is quite a tenuous link, because obviously both of us were in the forces. November the 11th, 1992, and I boxed a guy called Jamie Allison, and he beat me on points. And then I had 6 or 7 fights for Montana. After that, then I joined the RAOB. Can you hear me all right, mate? Is it buffering?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, good audio.
Yeah, so I boxed for the Buffs then till I was about 15, nearly 16. Won a couple of I think I won schoolboys. Who was that with? Remember the ROB? I might have won a junior Welsh title with them. And then I boxed for the Premier. And I won the schoolboys and the youths. You know, they used to have the schoolboy championships and the youth championships. And it was in the same year. If you were like 14, 15 or 15 and 16, you'd enter the schoolboys and the youths, and they were in the same year. And I won both of those then. And after that, then I joined the army then. I joined the army when I just turned 17.
So when you were boxing as an amateur, was it just something you enjoyed doing? You enjoyed the challenge? You enjoyed the physicality of it?
Do you know what, mate? Like, I did it, and I got pushed into it by my father. I wasn't very good at all. I was quite quiet. I was quite timid in school. Pretty scared of my own shadow, if I'm being honest, for a bit. And then you get to about 14 or 15. I probably lost in my first 15 fights. I probably only won about 3 or 4. I remember boxing Bradley Price, right, in the Welsh finals. I was like 12 years of age. And back then, I think we were both so small. I might have boxed in the semi-finals, again, probably in Slot or something. And I had a buy in the quarterfinals. I can't remember where it was. It might have been something like 48 kilos or whatever. So I had a box in the semis, beat a guy from Slot in the finals, and I boxed Bradley Price. I got to be honest, he done me in about a minute, which is quite ironic, really, because years later, Kerry Roll done me in the first round of the Welsh semi-finals in about a minute as well. I done all right, but I think a couple of times I had my ass handed to me on a plate by very, very good boys. You know what I mean?
So what other amateur boxers were around at your time? Guys who turned pro as well, like you mentioned, Kerry up there.
Yes. Well, when I was a kid, I always the boys that stood out obviously was Enzo McInerney. But quite early on, Enzo McInerney and the 3 Price brothers and Gavin Rees, they joined the WABF, the federation. They kind of broke away. It was something to do with amateurs and professionals training in the same gym or something, wasn't it? I can't remember it completely, mate, but I do remember, and I used to remember just seeing the Price brothers going on everywhere, and Gavin Rees, and they just used to clean up everywhere they go. They used to terrorise everyone as well. And obviously, he was a Swansea boy. You'd see him everywhere, and you'd just be like, but they were absolutely dripping with class. But I remember it was Byron Price, Delroy Price, and Bradley. I think Byron was the older, Delroy was middle, and Bradley was the youngest. But all very, very good fighters. Who else was around? I remember people like Kerry.
They had a bit of touch of class, didn't they? They look like pros, even though they were amateurs, and they were did they box like pros back then?
Completely different. And obviously, you'd always see these three brothers together and Gavin Rees in tow, like, and I just remember watching him. And Gavin Rees was tiny. And I used to go, oh my God, look at him, he's like a tank. And nothing much changed really through his career, like, did it? I'll tell you who became a really good friend of mine through the amateur boxing was just Spencer Evans from my stake.
Yeah, Spencer. Yeah, no Spencer.
Very good mate of mine. Boxed in the army.
Is it Jamie?
Jamie, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Boxed in the army team with him for a couple of years. We had a right good laugh. I don't know what, randomly, I didn't see him for about 8 years. And then me and my ex-missus split up. I texted him and then me and him went on holiday together. I don't think I've seen him since. But he's one of those boys that you just pick up and it's like he's never been away, you know? Yeah. But I think I boxed Spencer twice as well. I think he bashed me up and stopped me in the first round. As well. I think I bashed up by quite a few, to be honest with you.
And you were friends with Owen Davis? Was he on the amateurs at the same time as you as well?
Owen Davis. Owen kind of like, yeah, I remember him. Good boy, Owen. And the Cavan Hornets boys I used to get on really well with. Because when we used to train on the Welsh team, we had a guy called Stuart Phillips, obviously Bob.
Yeah, Bob, yeah.
Is it Bob? Yeah, he boxed Kerry a couple of times. He strong as an ox. I tell you what, I think I would box a light belt, or whatever weights we boxed when he was a kid, he was always one weight above me. And I was obviously very thankful because he was so strong. And you had people like Robert Davis, there's a couple of other boys. But tell you who I became good friends with, and actually I got his number the other day and I texted him. I hadn't spoken to his years, Darryn Edwards.
Oh, Darryn,
He probably won't like this. I think I'm the only man to ever beat him twice.
Never.
Yeah. And when I was boxing for the army, right, he was on the Welsh team, and I think he went to the Commonwealth Games a couple of times.
Yeah.
And boxing, he was interviewed him, right? And I still wind him up to this day. And I said to him, boxing, you said to him, when was the last time you lost on a club show? And he said, it was so long ago, I can't remember. And then I messaged him and I was like, so when I texted him the other day, he was like, who's this? I said, the last person who lost on a club show, like, but I boxed. I mean, we became very good friends. And when we were youngsters, with one of my first girlfriends, we used to go out together and have a beer. So, really good boy.
So, how old were you when you beat Darryn?
Jeez. I would say, he was lighter than me, mind, and I think Robert Davis' old man just fancied it. But, 14, 15.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
real young.
You know, it's like anything, isn't it? If you do something for long enough, you kind of catch up with people a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas it wasn't enjoyable for the first couple of years because I used to get bashed up a lot.
You know, for people who don't know, Darryn Edwards is probably one of Wales's greatest ever amateur boxers.
Yeah.
Quite an accomplishment by you beating him.
Yeah, if this makes you too key, I'm going to send him the link.
There we are. Well, I got to actually thank Darryn, because remember the picture I sold you when I was doing pictures of the boxing shows?
Yeah.
Actually, Darryn Edwards was the one who suggested to me to do those pictures.
Was he really?
Yeah, and he was fair play. I done the picture for him, same as I done for you, with the collage with the different pictures. Yeah. And I went round to his shop in the toll gate in Port Talbot. I'm not sure if he still got it. And I didn't even have a clue what to even charge him for the picture. Yeah. So I was just going to say, oh, go on, give me a tenner type thing. But fair play to Darryn. Yeah. Well, if he watches this, I'll say that publicly. Thank you to him, because he said, no.
Yeah, it's class.
And then he actually paid me like double the amount I asked. He said, oh, that picture.
Does it?
So I've been thankful.
Because I think if I remember rightly, you would write in for was it Seconds Out Boxing, or maybe?
Yeah, well, I wasn't writing for Seconds Out. I was doing the pictures for Seconds Out, because I was doing pictures. Yeah. They wanted a little bit of a story to go with it, and I'm not a writer, but they didn't have nobody else to do it, so I had to just put a few words together as well.
Yeah,
and boxing pictures as well.
Yeah, when you went on the podcast with the boys with Ryan and Paddy, I said to him, ask him about how we met, because because you were taking photos at the shows. Okay. I think you charged me a bit more than you charged Darryn Edwards that.
Oh, same price.
No, good times.
Money for 10 years to get it, man. But
what's that?
I had to chase you for the money for years.
Oh, that's right. I think it's a common theme. I don't think I paid you for a bit, did I?
No, you didn't pay me. To be fair, we arranged to meet each other about probably 4 or 5 times, and for various different reasons, it just didn't happen. So, but fair play to you.
Funny. I might have get paid you at a another Welsh show or something.
Yeah, well, actually, we're getting ahead of ourselves now a bit, but we were meant to meet at the Froch rematch, if you remember. That's
right. But to be honest with you, mate, I'm glad you didn't meet me there. I had a few too many by the time I would have probably bumped into you. That was brilliant. Talking about the boxing, I do try and go and see at least one big fight a year, like, do you know what I mean? And I still love it, mate. It's not a day where I don't watch it, talk about it, or just think about it. And sometimes I try and train, but mainly in Wales gym, but that's about it, you know?
Yeah, we get on to the boxing now, but just on your own career first at the moment. You mentioned at age 17, you decided to join the army, and you didn't just say to join the army, you joined the parachute regiment, which is probably is the toughest regiment to join in the British Army from Civvy Street. You mentioned there you were quite a quiet child, so why did you decide to probably join?
You know what, right? I left school when I was 17. I don't know what it was. Academically, I wasn't great. But the one thing I knew I was good at is I would try very, very hard at anything I do. I did. And I knew I was quite fit. And I remember I walked into the careers office. It's quite a funny story. I walked in and I saw this guy. What?
On Castle Street?
Castle Street. So I go in and I say, right, I want to join the army. I'd gone in 6 months before, but I was too young. So I go in and he said, oh, what do you want to do, son? I said, I want to join the army. He says, well, why? I said, well, I left school. I don't know what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, what can you do? I said, I can't do anything, I said. He goes, well, you must be able to do something. I said, no. He goes, well, how do you get your GCSEs? I said, I had like 5 C's, 3 D's, but double maths, double English, double science, and geography, I think everything else. I failed. I even failed PE because I just wasn't very strong and I was quite small, right? So I said, I can't do anything. He said, son, everyone can do something. I said, right, I can box. I'm not a bad boxer. He goes, well, you can't join the army to box. I said, why? He goes, you just can't. He goes, you might be able to do it. I said, okay. So I just said, well, what can I join then? And he had these, still there, maybe you've frozen on me.
Yeah, okay. I can hear your voice, but go keep talking, Dal. It'll probably come back now, mate. There we are, that's right, mate.
You still there, mate? Well, I don't know what happened then.
Yeah, just keep talking, mate, and as long as you've got the audio, it's the main thing.
Is it? So yeah, and then he had these wings on his arm, and I goes, what are they? He goes, oh, and he gave it the old parachute regiment, son, finest regiment in the British Army. And I just said, is it hard to get into those? And then he went, yeah. He goes, well, I'll join them then. And I was 17, right? And he goes, come on. I said, no, I'll join them. I said to my qualifications, make it. And as you and I both know, we're not renowned for our academic abilities. So I thought, he goes, come on, come here. He goes, can you do 10 chin-ups? I goes, yeah, I'll do 10 chin-ups. I had a chin-up bar in the house. So, bang, bang, do 10. He goes, can you do another 10? I mean, yeah, bang, did another 10. He goes, you're going to get in, you are. And I know I am. And I was in a 617 Ryan platoon on September the 23rd, 1997. And only, I think it was something like 61 or 65 of us started on day one. I mean, they passed first time. No back squad in, straight through. How many?
5. Half a dozen? Dozen?
5. 5. Yeah. So I did that. I like fitness recruitment phase 1.
So that's a brilliant achievement.
Yeah, but the physical activity, mate, I found fine, but not like the basic soldiering. I wasn't great at all. That's what I was thinking. I got to get on the boxing team. I was like, I wasn't great at all. So that was that. And then we went to phase 2 in Catterick. And I thought, I'm going to get P Company champion. And you know how prestigious P Company champion is. I think you've got the stretcher race, the log race, the 20 miler, the 10 miler, the Trinasium, all that sort of stuff. And I thought, I'm going to nail this. I got it in the bag. But I was a boxer. And when you do the milling, they come up to me like Bushbye. If you stand in a boxer stance, we're going to fail you. I said, okay. So I stood square on, tongue out, and I boxed a guy called John Precious, right? So I was milled in. And I absolutely hammered him. And I'm still friends with John on Facebook. and I absolutely mullered him. And do you know they gave him P Company champion? It's honestly, but as you could probably tell, I was getting pretty confident by then, and I just think they thought I was a little bit too gobby and they wanted to bring me down a peg or two. Yeah. But you can tell it's not bothering me, can you?
If I remember rightly, I was Hell's Barracks in Catterick.
That's right, yeah, horrible, stinking, dirty, horrible place. It was like phase 1 training. They give you those electric buffers, and you'd be buffering the floors, and to do it every night. And he was like, bum backwards, you'd be on the buffer, you'd be thinking, oh my God, this is not bad. You go to phase 2, and do you remember those old heavy things with the stick on them?
Yeah, oh yeah, I know, yeah. I know you're on with
it. It was random. Phase 1, they give you the buffer. Phase 2, you have to use bloody. I thought we were going back to the dark ages, yeah? But they just get inside your head, don't they? They're easing you in slowly, and then they just smash you to bits.
So when you went actually to your battalion or whatever, did you immediately start boxing again, or did you have to wait a while, or how did it work?
Well, mate, you know the mad thing is, me and you were speaking the other day, or when I last saw you, or maybe on social media, or maybe I was speaking to Stacey Farnell, our mate. On the Monday, they told us we were having 3.5 weeks with our family. We were going home, and then we were going to join our battalion, which was 1 para. On the Wednesday morning, they pulled us in, and they were like, guys, do you know where the Balkans is? And remember, I can't remember if I said a C or a D in geography. I might have had a C, but not really good. And I didn't know where the hell the Balkans was. They go, do you know who Slobodan Milosevic is? I was like, I have no clue. They were like, right. So they showed us some paper articles. They're like, you're not going home with your family. We're gonna go to Macedonia. You're gonna spend an hour with your family. So you pass out. You spend an hour with your family. We did my march. It was good. You spend an hour with your family. Put you on the back of a schnock. We flew straight to West Frew in Scotland. We did 5 days exercise. On the 6th day, they flew us to Macedonia. Within 48 hours of that, we invaded Kosovo. So it was in Pristina. Mad. I was 17.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny enough, I actually was in the process of leaving the army when that happened.
Yeah.
And I'd been home for weekend. I had the weekend off or whatever. I remember the phone ringing in my mother's house, my mother and father's house, and I said to my mother, don't answer the phone. So I just knew it was the army, and it was my sergeant saying, right, come on, back to Aldershot, get off to Kosovo. So actually, when I went back, because I already had another job lined up, but they basically allowed me to basically just help to get things ready to go.
Yeah.
So for when everyone deployed, then I was able to stay in Aldershot then, because they didn't initially know how long they were going to be out there for.
Did the boys give you any grief for that?
I don't remember. I think they were all too sort of hyped up and excited to be going to
it was a mad time, right? But I was so young. I was like, yeah, it'd be all right. Within a day, it's not within a day. We landed, and you went to Yugoslavia, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in Bosnia as well.
Landed, like I didn't see hardly anything. My brother did a couple of tours of Iraq, in areas there. I had a few friends that done Iraq, Afghanistan, and they've never been the same since. But we landed. And all you could hear was crack, 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 crack. And I thought, oh my God, what the fuck is this? Yeah. What is going on here? And then, honest to God, I was probably about 1 kilometre away. My friend and his platoon went in, and he's there. And the next minute, he's 17 years of age, good friend of mine. And then he was like a Yugoslavian police officer drunk. He's walking on with this. And next minute, we all go down on the floor, and I was obviously a bit away. And then they go, NATO stani lipukan, which means NATO stop all fire. Yeah. But all the soldiers, they were all, they had Northern Ireland in their heads, where you don't fight, you get fired upon. Yeah. My mate just put 3 in, done in.
But yeah.
Mad time.
I think that might have been the same incident. I don't know if it was, but a guy from 9 Squadron, the unit I was in, I think he might have been involved in that incident as well, because did not 2 people shoot him, I think? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I know a guy from 9 Squadron was all involved in a contact there. And a guy, I think
mad time, man. Mad time.
Yeah.
I had my 18th birthday out there.
Say it again, sorry?
I had my 18th birthday out there. Yeah. And a few of the boys back home, they sent me birthday cards. I don't bother with them much these days, but it always sticks in your mind. You're like, bloody hell. You're not going to be waiting to send me a birthday card. So yeah, mad time. Really mad time.
So you were out in Kosovo. When you returned back to Aldershot and North Camp, I think, if I remember rightly.
That's right, yeah. North Camp.
So obviously you mentioned you boxed in the army. So when did the boxing? When did you take the boxing back up?
Well, we come home, and as we landed, they gave us a couple of weeks off. And our CEO gave us a bit of a briefing, and the next minute it was just like, any questions, about the future. And I said, I won Paragon, I have a boxing team again this year, because they'd won it the year before. They were like, no, why? I said, well, I'm a boxer, and I'd like to fight. But I think there was a couple of other boys that had joined within a year of me or whatever. And they went out for a beer or what have you. When I come back, then they were like, we're going to do it. So I trained with them, and then I joined so I was on the one para boxing team for a bit. And we boxed 2 para in the first round. What a night. And we lost 5-4. I won my fight. I forget the boy I boxed. What's his name? Something Benson, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so I bashed him up. Really happy, but we lost 5-4. So that was it. He was out in the first round. But luckily, the army boxing coach had seen me fight that night. And then I boxed in the army championships. And then I boxed a guy called Mickey Burchett, who was a very good fighter. And surprise, surprise, I got bashed up again. But to be honest, he beat me like in the semi-finals or the finals of the Army Championships, like an intercontinental thing, like a regimental thing. And Neil McCallum, who was an England international back in the day, he liked me. They needed X amount of light welterweights because they were fighting in London every week. So he picked me. I couldn't believe it. So. In fact, I'm lying. I boxed after because after that we went to Sierra Leone. But in between going to Sierra Leone, they're the army boxing championships. So when we landed, we were about to finish for a bit of R&R, and they called like 4 people up who'd been picked to box. 2 of us got picked to box, 1 got picked to play football, another 1 got picked to run for the army or whatever. And then I went home and I went back, and then I was on the army team for nearly 2 years. It was great.
Tracksuit soldier.
Yeah, as Stacey Farnell likes to remind me every day. And now the boys I run with, they remind me every day. But technically, I was, mate. I used to box 9-10 months a year. Didn't have to shave in the morning. My boss was like, "You're going to get a rash," so we had to shave after our first run, which is class. And I was in tracksuit for 10 months a year, and I used to go back to the unit to do 1 parachute jump to keep my para pay.
Yeah.
And then go my holidays and then be back in the boxing team next year. It was great.
How did you find the parachuting?
I don't know the worst part about it. I'm afraid of heights.
Right.
So it was just one of those things. I was like, what am I doing? But you kind of overcome the fear because my last name's Bushbye. And as you remember, if you remember from your jumps course, you'd go in alphabetical order. So I can imagine when you're ready to jump out of the plane, you'd probably be in the middle, right? Or, the first third or whatever. But because my last name was Bushbye and it was no one whose last name began with A, I was always on the door.
Right.
So you go up and they go, come forward, and then you just go red on, go, and you just get used to it.
Well, actually, I remember a guy on my jumps course. I can't remember. Yeah, he's in the parachute regiment anyway. And he done 2 or 3 jumps and just said, that I can't do it. And he just basically quit on the plane. I think he'd won whatever it is you get as well for best student on his training course on P Company, but he just said, I can't jump. And he ended up going to the Staffordshire Regiment or something. Yeah,
and do you know what, right? It's really mad. I don't know if you remember, when you do your first jump, you would join at roughly the same time as me, maybe a couple of years before, didn't you? Yeah,
about a year or 2 before, yeah.
Yeah, well, back in the day, you used to jump out of a balloon, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right, the balloon jump.
You didn't jump out of a balloon, did you?
No.
You jumped out of the sky van, yeah?
Sky van, that's it, yeah.
You know, the sky van, for anyone, for the 10 people that actually listen to our interview, right? A sky van, it's like an LDV van with wings, isn't it?
It is jump out with the wings on, really.
There's no crosswind or whatever, because you get twists and what have you. So it's like just jumping on like a big slide, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And I remember we went up, and these boys went up before. So one fella, he was a nice guy, and I think a few of us owed him about 30 quid So we went on the beers, and it was a couple of days before payday.
Yeah.
So he went up, he couldn't go. They tried to push him out 3 times. 3 times he said no. So by the time we go back, we're about to go on the LDV van. They're like, don't look at him, Joe. That's a sign of weakness, Joe, I swear to God. By the time we come back, we'd done our jump and we were all buzzing, obviously. By the time we go back to the barracks, he's gone.
Yeah.
They got him out. And I remember years later, I was training at the RRW, and I went up to Germany for about 6 weeks to train my brother's regiment. And basically, I remember seeing him. He was in like the Coldstream Guards by then, like, and I hadn't seen this fella for years. He didn't ask me for the 30 quid back, though, thank God.
So you did your time in the army.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to leave? Was it just you'd had enough, or you had other ambitions?
It honestly, it wasn't for me, right? I enjoyed becoming a para. I wasn't a particularly good soldier. I couldn't get my head around the fact, as much as I'm still friends with 1 or 2 of the para boys now, I couldn't understand I don't know what's the right word. Basically, they just used to go downtown every Thursday and fill each other in. And I was like, boys, what are you doing? It just wasn't for me. Like, it was a bit too much bravado, I think, even though, you know, I am in a shrinking environment in my time. But it just wasn't for me. And I just thought I couldn't see myself having a career there, so I left. But the life spiraled out of control for a few years, because I left on a Friday. By the Monday, I was selling gas and electricity to over 60s in the BTs around Swansea on the phones. Yeah, and then I had a couple of garbage jobs along the way, like did a bit of everything, and obviously I'm settled where I am now.
Yeah, but around the time, I guess, where I first become aware of you was when you turned pro with Paul Boyce as your manager.
Boyce, yeah.
And you had, I think it was 4 pro fights.
Just the 4, yeah. And you know, I was one of those ones, like, I actually never thought it was going to happen, because I kind of left it so late. I think I had my first pro fight 3 months before my 30th birthday. Right. And I had a white collar boxing fight on one of Chris Ware's shows in Oceana. And it was in memory for a good friend of ours, Macca. And I boxed Darryn Jenkins, an old professional boxer, a very good mate of mine. And we boxed, we had a good fight, we did 4-2s, and I boxed in front of 1,000 people, and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. So that was in the May bank holiday. Then on my birthday, it was my 29th birthday, never forget it, I'm sitting here, Chris Ware's sitting there, and obviously I'd done a little bit of sparring with Chris at that time, and me and Chris had been friends for a number of years. And across from me was a guy I was living with, and his name was Mark Smith. A real old pro, like really, really cagey old pro, proper journeyman, probably won about 2 fights in about 50 or whatever. And we were like, do you know what, if I want to do this, a few bevies as well, I'm going, if we're going to do this, I want to get paid for it, but I love that. That was amazing. And we're like, we're too old though. We're too old. And then Mark Smith said, tell you who could sort that out. He goes, it's Paul Boyce. I said, well, I haven't spoken to Paul Boyce since I was 21 or 22, when I had delusions of grandeur about turning professional, but then just was on the sauce all the time. And then Mark was like, well, the boy who can sort that out for you is Ross McCord. And Ross McCord's turned out to be one of my best mates. So Chris rang in, because I didn't know him and I hadn't spent much time with Ross for many a year. And then Ross phoned Paul Boyce. So really, Ross, I think, had a massive part to play in there being a resurgence in boxing in Swansea. Yeah. Because he signed me and Chris Ware, then Chris Jenkins got signed, then Leon Finley got signed, Yanto got signed, I think he signed Ricky Owen, Tobias had a couple of fights. Greg Pickin. And we both lied to Paul Boyce about our age. Ross told him, he said I was 25 and Ware was 23, right? Because I'm I'm about 40 months older than Chris. And then Paul Boyce said to Ross, he's like, listen, Ross, I'm not interested. He's going, Paul, he goes, between the two of them, they know everyone in Swansea. He's like, Paul, they'll sell lots of tickets, he said, right? So Boyce's obviously ears pricked up, loved a pound note. And we met Paul. And really, really quick story, mate. Right? I've only ever told this story a handful of times. So we both agree we're going to sign with him. We go meet the British Boxing Board of Control. We're going to sort a few things out because, just because we've both been idiots in our adolescent years. But anyway, so we're in Paul's porter cabins. He's a car salesman, isn't he?
Yeah, you're in it.
Paul's like, right then, boys. He says, now to sign forms. Now, bearing in mind, when he signed Dale Reese, he was in the newspaper. When he signed Tobias, he was in the newspaper. He even signed Greg Pickett, he put it in the newspaper, right? Signed it in the newspaper. Me and Chris were, he's like, ooh, these bunch of characters, nothing. We just went up and gave me a piece of toast, cup of tea, and signed us. So he said, Darren, he goes, can I have, what's your date of birth, Darren? So I'm looking on his porter cabin, looking at all the old photos, thinking, oh, this is class. I'm going to be a professional fighter. This is amazing. I've made it. So we were looking around, and I'm not even looking at him, right? And he says, Dad, he goes, what's your date of birth? And I said, I won't say my date of birth. Well, I said, blah, 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 1981. He's like, looking at me, you what? I goes, yeah, blah, 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 1981. He goes, Ross McCall told me you were 25, he said. He goes, Darren, he goes, you're 29 next. He goes, you're 29, like, early next year. I was like, yeah. And I was like, he's like shaking his head. Next minute, he says, who's your next of kin, Darren? And I looked at him and I was like, oh, what's the next of kin, Paul? I genuinely didn't know, right? And I'm not completely like that, but I goes, what is the next of kin? And he goes, well, if you get hurt, he said, when something happens, I'll ring him. I goes, oh, well, I don't talk to my mum or dad, Paul. I said, just put you down. And he's like, Darren, he's like, if something bad happens, he's like, I can't ring myself, can I? I don't know. So I said, put so-and-so down, one of my mates. Goes to Chris, what's your date of birth, Chris? Blah, 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 1983. He looked up, he goes, you two are taking the fucking piss out of me, right? So Chris was nearly 27 or nearly 28, and he thought he was 23. And then he says to Chris, he's like, Chris, he said, right, and he's tamping. So he says, Chris, he goes, what's your next of kin, Paul? And he says, I'll put down Mary McCarthy. He goes, who the fuck is Mary McCarthy? He said, Paul. He said, that's my mother. He goes, but if anything happens to me, don't ring her because she don't know I'm boxing anymore. So he looked at us two and he was like, you two are a pair of boots. But I swear to God, we had one fight in Manor Park. The other 3 times we boxed in Oceania. And I tell you what, he made good money out of us. We sold the place out regular.
They were good shows, weren't they, to be fair?
What's that?
They were really good shows. They were,
yeah.
I don't know, they weren't a traditional professional boxing show, even a small old show, really, but they were just a really good atmosphere. Everyone was, the venue, everyone was on top of each other. Almost like the same type of feeling as the York Hall in London. It's just a real small, packed-in type venue. Boiling hot. Really good atmosphere.
And it's one of those, sorry to interrupt you, man. It's one of those ones, you look back and I was like, I don't know, I'm glad I did it, but I'm like, did I really savour it enough? Like, do you know what I mean? But I look back and I'm just happy I did it, Yeah. But crazy time, obviously. Really proud of where he went on to do an awful lot more than me. I think I stopped, I ended up boxing Leon Finley, then I boxed one of my stablemates, and then I was like, you know what? I was coming at a point where it was like, I either look at the boxing or I look at my career. I think I was 31, maybe nearly 32 at the time. I had some hand problems or whatever, and I just had to make a decision because I was kind of cutting corners in work. And to be honest, when all is said and done, glad I did it, but I definitely made the right decision because as a result, I've been quite fortunate in work, and I've been lucky enough to work away a couple of times and stuff. So I look back and go, do you know what? If I stayed off the pop when I was younger, maybe I could have done a little bit more. But at the same, don't get me wrong, I would never have been a world beater. But at the same time, you have to balance it up, and you hear some terrible stories about boxers that give their life to it, don't invest, and then finish, and then they haven't got anything. Whereas I carved out a semi-okay career, like, do you know what I mean? And And I think all said and done, I probably made the right decision. But when you look back and you think it all started as a result of me and Ware having a beer on my 29th birthday going, yeah, let's do this. Yeah. And then he went on to win, like, what he was, he Welsh middleweight champion, Welsh fighter of the year. Do you know what I mean? A real tough, hard boy, like, do you know what I mean? But and a good boy as well.
And credit to Chris, that fight still gets talked about now. Chris's fight with Frankie Bogg has been one of the best Welsh fights, really. I can remember anyway. Certainly since I win Welsh boxing.
Yeah, I missed the first fight. I was there then when he boxed Morgan Jones. And Morgan Jones was a good fighter of mine. I think he boxed Chris in his second or first fight, didn't he?
Pro debut.
It was his debut, was it? Yeah, I knew he was only going to have one or two. I thought he might have had one, but really good fighter. But for a Chris to come back then, I think he might. Did he box Morgan then, Frankie Bogg, on a 4-rounder, and then he knocked him out?
I think Chris was phoned on the morning to say, do you want to take this fight?
And he done it, didn't he?
Frankie, and Frankie was the Welsh champion at the time as well.
Yeah. Tough boys, he always fit and can box as well, like, do you know what I mean? But he won't be denied. Very strong guy. We used to have some really good spars, but in early doors, I feel like I do all right against him, but he just take over then, do you know what I mean? He used to love shoving the head at me now and then as well.
Your final fight of your career against Leon Findlay, Leon Findlay. Am I right in saying that basically you were told on that night, look, I haven't got an opponent for either of you, but you can fight each other? Am I right in saying that?
Not far off. Leon used to be called Leon Trott, didn't he?
Yeah, Leon Trott.
But he's a good amateur as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. I think he was Welsh champion, wasn't he, Leon?
Yeah, I think he was a welterweight champion a couple of times, maybe.
Yeah, I think he lost to Lewis Reese, didn't he?
Yeah, good fighter, really good fighter, and a lovely bloke as well. Yeah. Well, what happened is about 2 weeks before the fight, and when I was boxing for Paul Boyce, right, we didn't see eye to eye, right, but I was like just a bit angry. I always thought he was trying to get one over on me and stuff. But now I love him. We message infrequently. Every time I see him with a beer, and I get on really well with him, But I remember he said to me, when in Ware's gym one night, and he's like, listen, Dad, he's like, I don't know if we can save this show, he said. He goes, it was me, him, Tobias, and one other. And he said to me, and he offered me to fight this guy from Bethnal Green. I don't even know his name. He'd had like 6 or 8 fights, won them all. And then he's like, you can fight him and you'll get like 600 quid or something. And I was like, Paul, I said, and Ross McCall was like, Dad, he's not fighting a guy from London who's got a complete winning record on our own show for 600 quid. Yeah. And then Paul's like, well, I tell you one thing we can do, he said. He goes, and obviously he's trying to save the show. He's like, you can fight Leon. I was like, right. And then he said, and then what we can do then, he goes, you'll have your 1,000, he said. Leon will have 1,000 because you saved the show. And then Chris and whoever will have like 600 quid each. And I was like, hang on a minute. And I just said, no. I said, if I do fight Leon, I'll have 800 and Chris will have 800. I said, he has the same as me, like, do you know what I mean? He's my mate.
Yeah.
And it was mad because I sparred Leon, and when I used to spar him early on, I used to felt that I used to do very well against him. But I don't know what it was. He fought on the road quite a bit, and I think quite quickly he kind of like found me out. Do you know what I mean? And I think he boxed on the road quite a bit, and he would fight anyone.
I think he reminds me, Leon. He reminds me a bit of Ciaran Goodrich now. And he goes on the road, but he goes to win. Even though probably looking at him in his record, I think he's just somebody for them to beat. I think he actually goes looking to get the win, and I think that was Leon's mentality as well.
Yeah, and who was the guy he boxed? He boxed him a 10-rounder. The one, the guy that Lily boxed in the bare knuckle fight. What was his name? Who did Lily box in the bare knuckle fight? Was his name?
John Wayne Hibbard.
John Wayne Hibbard. I'm pretty sure Leon boxed him over 10 for the British Masters. Was that? Yeah, and he lost to him on points, didn't he? But then, so Leon would fight anyone, and he's a very capable fighter. And I sparred, and I remember a couple of weeks before it, I sparred him, and I sparred him a couple of times, and I just couldn't get near him, right? So then, when Paul asked me to fight him, if truth be told, I lost before I went in the ring. Because I was like, he'd had a bet with me in sparring like 2 or 3 times. So when Paul asked me to fight him or said, would you take the fight? I said, yeah. And I probably lost before I went in the ring. I was in the away changing rooms. I warmed up late. I wrapped up late. So so you can imagine, I had a bee in my bonnet. And they told me I couldn't come in under 11 stone 2. And I think Leo might have even come in heavier than me. So I'm even in the ring, like, tamping. And I'd lost before I got in. And I think my mate sent me a video the other day. He dropped me in the first round, dropped me in the second round, and then we had a really good fight the last 2 rounds, but the damage was done, like, you know what I mean? And
especially on a 4-round fight, if you get dropped, you're chasing the fight.
You screwed him.
Yeah.
You screwed.
Yeah, so even though you called it a day then in terms of actually better in boxing, as you mentioned earlier, you absolutely still love the sport and follow the sport. And you mentioned there as well, I know you've worked abroad quite a few times for a number of years in America. And you went to some shows in America, am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I went to a few, and I probably spent more money than I should. I think I lived there twice. I lived in Richmond, Virginia. First fight I saw, I went to Madison Square Garden, and I saw Terence Crawford versus Patrick Lundy. Stopped him in 5 rounds. Terence Crawford's fans are absolutely mad. I had a beer with them the second time. I seen some of them there, but they're mad. They couldn't even weigh in against each other because there was rival gangs, and they were like nearly fighting outside Madison Square Garden. So that was the first time. Then I went to watch Tony Thompson versus Luis Ortiz in DC Armory in Washington. Watched them. Then I went back to Madison Square. So I watched 2 fights the first time I lived there. And then when I went back and I went to watch Triple G versus Daniel Jacobs.
Wow.
Class. And do you know what?
How far away from the ring were you in that fight?
In that fight, right, I spent probably $410. I must have been 20, 30 metres away from the ring, maybe a bit more, right?
It's not a massive.
Pardon?
You weren't a big, long distance away. That's not
a massive amount. Obviously, I was closer when I watched Crawford versus Lundy, because that was in the arena. Because they've got like a cinema style place, and then you've got the main MSG. So then I watched Triple G versus Jacobs, and I remember watching that. I watched Chocolatito versus Soory. I can't even pronounce his name. The Korean guy, the guy who changed his name to a supermarket.
Right.
You know the guy I'm on about?
Yeah, no, I know you're on, but I remember this.
Class fight, absolutely brilliant. So that was class. 2 weeks later then, I drove to the MGM in Baltimore, which is just outside DC, and I watched Lomachenko versus, I forget the guy's name. He'd done that Matador, and he does that to him in the ring. Have you seen it?
Yeah, but I've seen all Lomachenko's fights.
David something his name is. So Lomachenko was class there. I watched Usyk versus... I can't remember these guys' names. Usyk versus someone. He had like good fight. He fought like a tough Colombian, and then tell you was a fight that I really enjoyed watching. That I was Alexander Grodzvik,
right?
Light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to be good. And he was the guy who ended up. He boxed Adonis Stevenson. He put Adonis Stevenson in a coma, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
And then he was trained by Teddy Atlas, and then after it, he then boxed. Bibatev?
Yeah.
Bibatev,
he lost him, didn't he? Did he get stopped there?
He lost him, but the same thing happened to him. Yeah. Not as bad as Adonis Stevenson, but he got put in hospital, and I don't think he spoke again. But he was very good, like Russian fighter. I enjoyed watching him.
Just going back to the Triple G and Jacobs fight, I mean, that was a little bit controversial at the end, because quite a few people thought Jacobs had won. What was your opinion on the night?
I'm a Triple G fan, I'm a massive Triple G fan, and I'd had a couple of beers. But yeah, it was very, very close. And I haven't watched it for a couple of years, but I'll still say Triple G. But when you think about it, I spent $410 on that ticket. 2 weeks later, I watch Lomachenko, and I'm literally 10 yards from the ring, cinema style seats again. And I was literally in the centre, and I was watching like pure brilliance, like, you know what I mean? Pure class. And then when I come home and I watch Crawler versus Linares in Manchester. I ringside for that, I enjoyed that. But then when I went back, geez, I think I went on overdrive then. I think I went and I watched Michael Conlan box. No, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I watched Michael Conlan make his pro debut the day before Triple G, and Conor McGregor walked him into the ring. Then when I went back to the States, I watched Adrian Broner versus Ashley Theophane. But I boxed Theophane as an amateur as well, see, so I used to keep in touch with him. Okay. So when I watched him, believe it or not, I actually beat Ashley Theophane, which is a surprise. I'm telling you, everyone bashed me up. Yeah, I beat him in the army, yeah. But I always kept in touch with him. And then after that, then I went back to Madison Square Garden a couple of times, and I watched Linares versus Lomachenko. And that is when I realised Lomachenko is as good as he is. Lightweight, he can't go above lightweight. Because, you know, I think Linares, even though he stopped Linares in like the 10th round or something, I knew he just can't go higher. And then after that, the best fight I probably watched my whole time there is I went to Brooklyn and I watched Wilder versus Ortiz. That was classic. Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was a good fight to watch. There's a lot of drama in that, and obviously Ortiz hit it from pillar to post, didn't he? Really? Yeah. But yeah, so
I mean, obviously, I mean, how popular is boxing in America now? Would you say? Because the impression I get is it's playing sort of second fiddle to the UFC and MMA. Would that be fair to say?
Oh yeah, and I don't think you've got hardcore fans. The fans you go to shows with, mine, they know everything about boxing. The fans that go, they're hardcore. No, whereas like you've got far more casual fans. It's a stupid thing to say, but you've got far more casual fans in the UK than you have in the US.
Yeah,
far more. UFC takes front row, I'd say. Yeah, and one of the things I was gutted about is I left the US in August 18. And I think Eddie in that month had signed the DAZN deal. And, you know, like I lived in Texas for a bit as well. And there was no boxing in Texas after I come home.
Yeah.
Kovalev boxed there. Mikey Garcia's boxed there. I lived in Dallas, right? And what's his name? Who's Errol Spence? Errol Spence has boxed there. I know Jay Harris boxed there recently. I follow Jay quite a bit.
Sorry, just interrupt you there, Dar. I know you're a massive boxing fan, so I'll give you a quick question now. Name, as far as I know, the only Welsh boxer that Errol Spence has boxed.
Fred Evans?
But yeah, straight away you got that. I didn't think we'd get that. Yeah, Fred Evans, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I'd catch you out then.
And how did Fred Evans get off against him?
He lost to him. Fred said he had stomach cramps.
Do you know the mad thing is, what happened there? Because that boy, he had a silver in the Olympics, Fred Evans, didn't he?
Silver, yeah.
What happened there? Because I know he had a bit of trouble. He lost his license for a bit and stuff, didn't he?
Well, he boxed on the World Series of Boxing, didn't he? The 5 rounds were semi-pro, semi-amateur type thing for a couple of seasons. Then he went pro with Tony Bogg. He had a couple of fights there with him, but he lost his last fight with Tony. Then he switched trainers to Gary Lockett.
Yeah.
And I think he's had maybe one or 2 fights with Gary since he started training with him. So
because I saw something recently. Is he training with him right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not now, but he was before the the lockdown type thing.
Was he?
But
class fighter.
Brilliant. Someone so skillful, but it's just seems to lack sort of discipline.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. Do you know what a fight that I always thought was going to do really, really well was Lewis Reese, right?
Yeah.
Because when I was boxing for Boise, my first fight, I didn't really have a trainer. So I used to go up to Gary Lockett and funny enough, I sparred Bradley Price a couple of times up there, and the first time he was like, the second time he bashed me up again. But it was good. But I kept going back, and Gary, I have to say, Gary always made me feel very welcome up there.
Yeah.
I know it was Darren's gym then, I think, but Gary always made me feel welcome. And I remember one Saturday morning I went up there to spar, and he was like, I messaged him. I said, "Is there any spar?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Come up." He goes, "Lewis and Gavin will be here." I was like, "Oh, fucking hell, here we go." But I committed, like, do you know what I mean? So I go up there. I'm up there for 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking, "Oh, fuck, here we go." I thought I was going to get my ass handed on a plate again. And just so happened, Gavin didn't turn up. And then Lewis didn't turn up. So I'm there, and Di Jenkins took me up because Ross wasn't training me at the time, right? And I thought, what am I going to do? Next minute, so I'm there and skipping, wrapped up. Boys haven't turned up. Gary's tamping. Next minute, Gary starts wrapping up. He's like, Di Jenkins goes, and Gary goes, "I'm not going to leave you drive all this way." Because I drove up there. I probably drove up there 4 or 5 times. He's like, "I'm not going to leave you drive all this way, Darren." He goes, "I'll do a few with you." I'm like, "Maybe what?" My mate's like that. He goes, "Oh, fuck." Next minute, I'm thinking the last time this guy's been in the ring, he's fucking boxed Kenny Pavlik in Atlantic City. I'm like, what's going on here? So I did 4 rounds with him, and I have to say, he took me round. Like, I remember at one point, I think it was in the second or third sparring, I remember it. And I went in, and I went to throw left at the body. And know the way he just spun me and pivoted me and just stood me on my head, basically. So he still had it. And I think he was a bit pissed off because I might have grazed his eye or something. He probably can't remember. And he was going out to watch Wales v Ireland in rugby that day with his friends and family and stuff. So, yeah. but he was always very nice to me, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, he's very welcoming, Gary. I know he looks very serious when you see him on TV or in pictures, but he's a good guy.
Yeah. Probably don't smile very much, but the one thing I will say, the last 2 times I've seen him, I only seen him twice. I saw him when Gavin Reese-Boxed Derry Matthews when they had a technical draw. And me and Gary, and he was like, "Hey, how's it going, Bush?" And then I saw him down the Liberty Stadium when the Swans had put up Jay Harris and them, because Jay went on the thing as well. And I turned on the guy who's behind me and I gave him a wave, you know. And, you know, we exchanged a couple of messages on Twitter or whatever, but he's always been very nice to me, so that's nice.
You mentioned Jay Harris there. For obviously a Swansea boxer.
Yeah.
The WBC world title up in Texas.
Class.
And came really close to winning it, to be fair, I think. I mean, I thought the Sky commentator was a little bit harsh to him on the night.
Yeah.
And I mean, the body shot, obviously, when he got dropped with the body shot towards the end, that probably sealed the victory for Martinez. But what a brilliant performance by Jay.
Oh, the boy's class, mind. He's a really, really nice kid. And I remember he putting stuff up on Twitter, and then when I was away, and I'm like, why are more boys in Swansea following him? Because he's got a really, really good group of fans. Really, really good boys, headers, but, you know, good fun. And I was just like, and when I come back, I was just like, do you know what? If I can get a few of the boys to follow this kid, let's do it. Because I know how hard it was to sell tickets, and I wasn't even a tenth of as good as Jay is. Do you know what I mean? I thought I'm going to try. So we went to watch him a couple of times in Cardiff. I think I seen you up there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did chat there.
We watched him against Moreno. We watched a couple of his. He boxed that Bread full day, is it?
Yeah, he boxed him a couple of times, didn't he?
Yeah, I might have watched one or two. I might have watched both of those. I watched him against Moreno, and then I said to the boys, "Come on, let's go to Belfast." And we went to Belfast to watch him against Paddy Barnes, right? I tell you what, it's one of my favourite trips. It's one of my favourite trips the last few years we went there. There's about 50 of us. We did have people throwing bevies and urinalis from up the top, but we were singing so loud, right? You couldn't even hear Paddy Barnes getting called into the ring. And other than 1 or 2 people, we were very well received in Belfast, and it was class. It was just so good to see. So obviously I didn't get to go to Texas, which was a real shame, but a few of the boys did go. And he boxed class, and I'll be honest, I thought, I don't know, maybe it was you're going to be more biased to the young fighter. But I just thought he's bigger than him. He's a lot stronger than what people think. He's a much neater boxer. He makes the weight far better than Charlie Edwards. It wasn't like Andrew Selby going to Mexico, 3,000 feet above sea level, 5 days before the fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Jay does live the life.
Yeah.
So I think, other than he got dropped, didn't he? But, up to the first half of the fight, I think he was definitely in it. And I agree that the scorecards weren't as wide. And his stock rose so much. The only bloody shame is obviously COVID's land, isn't it? Because, he's on people's minds, and I think the American fans loved him, and I could see him going back out there quite quickly. But
yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a statement by Jay. Just even if he survived the 12 rounds against Martinez, that would have been a statement. But the fact he was in there fighting every single round, winning some of the rounds. Even after he got dropped, after Jay went down, I was thinking, oh my God, I watched it live. I was like, oh, what's good? I think I forget it for Jay, because I know to survive against a natural finisher like Martinez. But then by the end of the round, Jay was actually pushing Martinez back. And if it wasn't for the knockdowns, Jay probably would have won those rounds, that round.
Yeah. But honestly, God, he can box. I think he's getting better every fight. The better the person he fights, the better he performs. You only have to look at him against that Brett guy, the German. I can't pronounce his name. And you look at Moreno. They just said Moreno was struggling at the weight, but he dominated him for 12 rounds. He absolutely matched Paddy Barnes and then bullied him, stopped him, and then he took Martinez all the way. And when you think about the way he made Charlie Edwards look, and you think about what he did with Selby as well, he's going to be in some big fights, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's a world champion, and it'd be absolutely fantastic if he is.
Yeah,
great boy.
I always say this about Jay. I mean, how unlucky. I mean, there's not many flyweights in Britain or even in Western Europe or North America. No, because there's just not people that size. But how unlucky is Jay Harris to be from a small country like Wales and then to have two other world-class flyweights in his weight division, in Andrew Selby and Daniel Chapman when he was coming through the amateur ranks?
Unbelievable. And Daniel Chapman. It's mad.
And so much credit for Jay, because a lot of people would have quit boxing as a schoolboy, been up against that type of level of opposition. But to his credit, he's stuck with it. And, he's top 10 in the world now, probably top 5 or 6.
Yeah. But it doesn't show, though, like, hard work and perseverance is great.
Yeah.
We've got to have a little bit of luck as well, see. And I think you can't take anything away from Gary Lockett. And I think that, with Gary Lockett, he's obviously got some good connections. The MTK Global things come off.
Yeah.
And they're doing some great things for boxing. And it's just good to see, like, do you know what I mean? And I just hope early on now, because I think when boxing comes back, you listen to some of the stuff Eddie Earn is saying on IFL, it's going to be softly catchy monkey. I don't think they're going to be smashing out massive big shows, but I hope Jay gets out early, because he'll be on people's minds. But it's like he's not a Sky Sports fighter, is he? Or he's not a DAZN fighter, and I just hope they get him out soon, so, strike while the iron's hot, if you like.
But I think Jay now, probably the first time in his career, is in a really strong position, because, like I said, he's not a matchroom fighter, but MTK work with Matchroom a lot.
Yeah.
MTK, they put plenty of their own shows on, and obviously they got a world class fighter in Jay Harris.
Yeah.
So he's in a really strong position. So when boxing does start, hopefully, he'll be ready for perhaps a warm up fight, then straight back into another world title fight. Hopefully.
Yeah, great lad, and he deserves it all. And the thing is, he's not young, see, for a flyweight. Was he 30, right?
I think he's 29. He's 28, 29 now.
I don't know why I thought he was 30, but that's not young for a flyweight, is it? Do you know what I mean? So I hope he can get a couple of good fights, a couple of good wins, make a bit of money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think as well. I always say this. I mean, I doubt anyone's listening, but if there's someone with a bit of money in their pocket looking for a boxer to sponsor, you won't go far wrong sponsoring.
I know. That's why I can't get my head around, why Swansea, there's more people in Swansea who won't promote him and just give him a bit more sponsorship. Hey, I got a question for you, right?
Right, okay.
Tell me, you keep tagging me in stuff around Aaron Pryor and Richie never met Richie. Seems like a nice guy. I know Lee managed him and they have banter and stuff. Seems like a nice guy. And then obviously I commented on something the other day, so now he started tagging me and stuff.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're asking me loads of questions about boxing. Where's that come from?
Well, with the Pryor, you mean?
The Pryor stuff, yeah. Did you watch the fight? I asked to watch.
You just seem to know a lot about him. I respect your opinion on boxing. And no, I've watched the highlight reels of Pryor. You know, you can just type in the best of Pryor. But I've never actually sat and watched a full fight of his.
Did you watch the one I told you to watch the other day? When he
won the way I watch fights, I get access to an exercise bike, which I go on occasionally, and I put my phone, I balance it on the front of the bike, and I just watch the fights on when I'm on the exercise bike. Yeah. So that next time I go on there, that's the top of my list now.
But do you know what, though? You know, sometimes, right, you watch it, sometimes you just want to watch the highlights, because I know sometimes I enjoy watching interviews more than I do the boxing, right? But if you watch Pryor, he had some good fights, and obviously his two he's most well renowned for is obviously the two with Alexis Arguello. Yeah. One because of the controversy in the first one, but you watch when he wins the world title, he just bludgeons this guy called Antonio Cervantes. His name is. He had like 26 fights. Cervantes was having his 98th fight, something like 20-odd world title fight. And he just swarms all over him in his hometown and absolutely bludgeons him. Yeah. Really, it's brilliant. It's good to watch, like. But he also did box a couple of stiffs as well, man. He boxed a couple of like Korean guys, or Asian guys.
I know we were talking in reference to Jay Harris and how you need a little bit of luck in boxing. But how unlucky with Pryor? I know he made his own luck with bad decisions and drugs and whatever, but he was just outside the Four Kings. No, Leonard, Hagler.
Yeah. And we spoke about that the other day, because when you look at it, right, I didn't know that he'd signed to fight Sugar Ray Leonard. I know that he was looking for the fight. And if you watch HBO Legendary Nights with Aguayo and Pryor, you can see him, he storms the stage in one of Sugar Ray Leonard's press conferences, and Sugar Ray Leonard makes him look like a bit of an idiot, which I didn't like. But yeah, he was like welter, wasn't he? And he was... But when I looked at him, and I know we had an exchange on Twitter, or Richie Garner had asked the question, but I honestly think the more I watch of him and the more I look at others, I think, I don't know why, Agler would have been way too big for him. I think Thomas Hearns would have hit an hole in him because of the way Pryor used to come forward, a bit like not a lot of thought, it was like a whirlwind. A little bit of head movement, but looked off balance, his head up in the air. Sugar Ray Leonard would have just found him out after about 2 or 3 rounds and then just give him a boxing lesson. And then I think Darryn would have just outmanned him.
Yeah. Another fight we both at, although we didn't actually see each other at the fight, rematch between Froch and Groves.
Do you know what, right? Do you know what? I absolutely love that because I'm probably one of the few people, the one like actual Carl Froch. I know he comes across as a bit of a, he's arrogant as hell, and just says it as it is, but I think he's tough as teak.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Made the best of everything he had, fought anybody who's anybody, tough as hell. But it is, but a couple of things that I don't really like about him. He obviously mugged you off when he interviewed you years ago, and he's quite rude to you, and he was a bit of a twat, to be honest. Then the whole Calzaghe thing years ago, I can understand why he did it, because he was a young fighter coming up and wanted to fight, and I can also see why Calzaghe probably wouldn't fight him, because it's high risk, no reward. Yeah. But then I met him. I'm not going to edit myself, but I met him at when Dillian White boxed Chisola a year last December. I took my brother for Christmas. Pretty crap card, to be honest, but the main event was class. It was good fun. And I met Carl Froch, and I had a good chat with him. And I was speaking to him, and you had people shouting, doing little Calzaghe, blah, 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 saying this and that. And then I just said to him, I remember you when you won the World Amateur Silver Medal in 2003 in Ireland. Because obviously, when I boxed for the Army, I was fanatical about amateur boxing then. And I goes, you boxed to Russia and you lost in the semi-finals. Frank Maloney, now Kelly Maloney, wanted to sign you. He offered you 60 grand. And he's like, how do you know all this? I said, oh, well, my mate was the chauffeur for Frank Maloney, and he picked you up from the airport and stuff. And I said, you and my mate had a chat about whether he was going to give you any more money. And you ended up signing with McHenessy. So because I knew a little bit about boxing, he gave me a bit of his time. And he seemed pretty interested. And then my brother's Ahmed, winding him up. So in amongst all the idiots, he thought I was a decent person. But then I read some stuff the other day, and he's brought up this Calzaghe thing again. And it's hard. It's hard to not get wound up by it. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's having a laugh at everybody. He says to his mates or his missus, watch this now, I'm going to mention Calzaghe.
Probably, yeah.
See how everyone reacts. And I think he's laughing to himself, knowing, because he mentions the 80,000 fans.
All the time,
just to wind people up, I think.
Yeah. But I probably am one of the few people, right, that do like him. Do you know what I mean? That's always says some stupid things. But back to Wembley, I watched that. And if you think about the undercard, right, you had Joshua on there. Joshua stopped someone really early. Caliafai. I think Caliafai might have boxed for the world title. He might have been his second or third defender. Maybe he was fighting an eliminator. You had Kevin Mitchell. Kevin Mitchell had a really good win on there. I think he stopped the fella. You had James DeGill.
Yeah.
He had a good win, stopped the guy in 4 or 5 rounds. I can't remember who the chief support was. I don't know whether that might have been either DeGill or Kevin Mitchell. What?
David Price?
Not sure. I might have been at the bar for that one. and then I watched the main event, and I was just outside ringside, right? Because one thing I'll do is if I go to a big fight, I do try and buy good tickets, because it's one thing I don't really. I like to have decent seats, and I was just the left hand side of the post, and when Froch did that, and then he sparked Rose, I did enjoy it. I thought it was class, and I think I was one of the few people that was one that enjoyed it, and secondly, I actually think that Howard Foster made the right call stopping Groves in the first one.
Okay, well,
yeah, you don't think so? Obviously, without response.
I mean, it's an impossible position for a ref. Well, it's not impossible, but it's a difficult position for a ref, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have to make a call, and I think a lot of people might not realise that Howard Foster was the ref of the fight between Ciaran Farrell and Anthony Crawler, where Ciaran Farrell ended up on a bleed on the brain. So,
yeah, that's a fair one. And that was a proper war, wasn't it? And I think that was when Crawler had a couple of good wins. And then, who was that Scouser he boxed when he went from super feather to lightweight? And he stepped across him and just done it. He had a couple. What was that?
Watson.
That's right, yeah. But he had a couple of good wins, and he lost, didn't he? And then he basically boxed on a David Caldwell show, didn't he, when he boxed?
Yeah, well, David Caldwell's
and I don't even know, it wasn't even televised, was it, by Sky or anything?
Online. It was online broadcast.
It was an online thing through David Caldwell's app.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a fair point, and I think it can kind of change you, can it?
I think so,
Tell who's a referee. I don't want to give him too much of a hard time, but tell you a referee I really, really struggle with. What's his name? Who's the guy that jumped in really early on Enzo?
Oh, Ian John Lewis.
And listen, I've seen him at a couple of the shows, and you look at him, you say hello, and he was ex-Southern Area champion when he had welterweight. So, good fighter, like, so he understands the game. But the amount of times I've watched him, he did it with Enzo, he went to jump in, and he'd done it, it was too late, and he realised he made a mistake. But he's done it a couple of times, man. And you go in there, and he's almost like Bambi on ice. And I think it's almost like, I struggle.
And Ian John Lewis is also the ref between Klitschko and Shannon Briggs. When Shannon Briggs absolutely got pounded for like 12 rounds, and his face, his nose was broken, his cheek was broken. I think he had other real bad facial injuries.
And that's the thing, see, it could be like anything. It'll change you as a ref, wouldn't it? But for those reasons, I do struggle, because I've seen him jump in and he's made a couple of really, really bad calls. But obviously, it's probably a tick in the back of his head somewhere.
And one thing I don't like, and I know this day and age, a lot of people do it, but he got his trademark of saying, I am the referee, doesn't he? He says that before, when he calls it, I am the referee, as if to sort of say, we know you're the referee, you're the guy in the sticky bow in the middle of the ring. Like, you don't need to say, I am the referee.
Tell who's a really good referee. I can't believe I don't remember anyone's name tonight. Who's the Scottish guy?
Victor Loughlin.
Yeah, what's the name? Victor Loughlin. Yeah. I remember when do you remember when I got to go on the prize fighter, but I didn't fight?
That's right, yes.
He's reserved. Yeah. Don't know, I made more money that night. And I never even fought. I just weighed in and I did it any of my fights. I had $2,000. I had $2,000, it was great. And me and I can't remember everyone's name tonight. Who's the tall light middleweight? He actually beat John Ryder and
Nick Blackwell.
Nice boy. No, from Manchester. Nice boy. We're friends on Instagram. Trained with Bobby Riman. Oh, what's his name? He got banned from the British Boxing Board of Control for something. He ended up having a bare knuckle fight.
Oh, no, Prince something he called himself, was it?
No, he beat Prince Aaron, I think. Prince Aaron's a good fight, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems a bit of an header, though. What's his name? Tall blonde guy. Anyway, I forget. Me and him were both reserves.
Victor
Loughlin. Well,
I think, and I'll have to check to be sure, I think he was the ref on the Nick Blackwell fight.
Obviously, was he really?
A serious injury. And I'd have to check to be 100% sure. I think he might have been the ref for the Mike Towell fight as well, when against Dale Evans.
Was he really?
He might have been, yeah. So, I mean, that's going to be massive.
Victor Loughlin, that's bad luck, that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously... That's got to play on your mind, I would have thought. Or you have to be a strong personality not to let that affect your judgment when you're reffing a fight.
Yeah, that's bad luck, innit? What's this boxer name? Just going to do my head and I can't.
I don't know, but...
No, he boxed... Jack Armfield.
Oh, yeah, Jack Armfield, yes.
Yeah, Jack Armfield boxed on the undercard of Crawler Linares, the second one.
Yeah. Did he have a bare knuckle in the end? I know he was down to have a bare knuckle.
Yeah, I think he had one, he won it, and I think he's just got his licence back. He's fighting again.
Okay. What's your thoughts on Fury, Joshua, if it ever happens?
Oh, do you know what, right? I wish I sent my mate a photo the other day, right? Let me see if I can find it. And I've got it'll kind of set the scene, right? Let me look at this. Do you know when you got something that comes up on your timeline on Facebook? Courtney's, and I put this as aged well. And I messaged, and we were saying something. And what did he say? So look.
I mean, I've for a long time, I've always felt that Fury would be too versatile for Joshua. Yeah.
And I put 31st March 18. I've only caught the last 6 rounds of Joshua Parker. If Parker can make him miss the way he did, what would Fury do? It'd be a boxing lesson, I tell you. And then one of the boys went, Bushbye, you know fuck all about boxing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then they all talk about, do you remember the time when he punched him 7 in the nose? Who cares? The guy's class. I think the way he's come back is brilliant. I thought he beat Wilder convincingly in the first fight.
Yeah.
The way he handled himself in defeat was class. And I also think the fight is one of the few fights in recent years I've actually got at, because obviously I've been lucky enough to watch quite a few good fights in the States, that I got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch, and I tell you what, I couldn't go back to sleep after I watched it. Do you know the way he hammered him, didn't he?
Yeah.
He outmanned him, and he did everything he said he was going to do, and he exposed all the weaknesses that Wilder's got that nobody else could. You only have to look at, like if we talk about the Lewis Ortiz fight, both fights, times he boxed him, he won every round until he got knocked out.
Yeah.
But the way Tyson Fury, do you know if you see the second fight, right? And a lot of people say that his fight against Fury's fight against Klitschko was garbage, it was this, it was that. But if you saw Fury's feet after that fight, and you ever see it, I don't know if you've ever seen the photos, when he takes his boots off in the chain, Fury's feet, I'm pulling my feet up for effect there, he had blisters everywhere. Because if you looked away, he was constantly in and out, he's in and out, and he was always half a yard outside. And if you look at the way Tyson Fury was jumping in, feinting, going boom, 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 and jumping back out and just using the distance, it was a bloody masterclass.
Yeah.
Class. I was like a kid again. I was buzzing.
I can't remember another example. I mean, there probably are other examples. You might be able to think of one of a fighter going into a fight and fighting a totally different way than virtually everyone said he was going to and win. There's plenty of examples of guys going in with the wrong styles and losing. But it's a bit like, I'll give you an example then of someone losing. When Sugar Ray fought Duran the first time, Sugar Ray fought Duran's fight and he lost. In the rematch, he fought his own fight.
Yeah.
This fight, Fury went in and he fought Wilder's fight. He fought the tactics which everyone said he shouldn't do. And, well, he put a masterclass.
Yeah. I suppose the only one that you could say, but you can't get, is probably Foreman Ali, Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah, possibly,
yeah. But it wasn't a complete opposite, because he did used to try and make people miss on the ropes and all that sort of stuff. No, you're right.
I think Ali in that case, well, he fought that way because he didn't have a choice. He couldn't keep away from him, could he?
Yeah,
have to stand and sort of fight.
But no, I know I've gone off on a tangent because I'm loving the conversation, but I think I'm more convinced than ever. The one thing I will say, no Anthony Joshua, the way he boxed against Ruiz in the second fight was a masterclass fight. Don't get me wrong. I think the way he boxed, the way he changed his game plan was class. But I just think Fury's all wrong for him.
Yeah.
And I think he'll also just get in his head again, or get in his head before it. And I think he's just all wrong for him. And I think Fury has actually shown, don't get me wrong, Wilder's far, far easier to hit, and I don't think he's as fragile. I don't think Joshua's as fragile. But I just think he'll have to be a lot cuter. He'll have to be, he'll have to be a bit cuter than he was against Wilder. But I think there's only one winner, and it's Tyson Fury. It really is. And the thing is, he's hungry. I think he's the informed fighter, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I'd say he's the man now in heavyweight.
My question for you, do you think, I spoke to someone about this the other day, do you reckon Wilder will take step aside money and use it as an excuse to say, he definitely needs more time. I don't think he'll ever beat Fury, but he'll go, I'll take 10 million, I'll step aside, and then he'll use that time to get better, and then have the close to fight the winner straight after it?
I think it'll come down to how much. Well, if the step aside money is massive, then I think he'd take it. But if it'll be the money, I think.
I think it'll have to be 10 million.
Yeah.
No, the amount of money they said.
Because somebody said, I read someone on social media or something. Someone said they think Wilder should take a warm-up fight against someone first before fighting Fury again, which is great. Except you can have $1 million for a warm-up fight, or you can have potentially $20 million against Fury. So
and the other thing is, he's been completely exposed.
Yeah,
he's been completely exposed. So go on.
Yeah, but I just don't think. I think Wilder's stage was his mid-30s now, 34. Is he, Wilder?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to improve very much.
No, well, that's my point. That's exactly my point.
So I don't think
exposed.
I don't think a warm-up fight is going to make him much better. Might make him slightly better, but
yeah. But let's just say he fought a top 10 guy, and the top 10 guy tried to bulldoze him.
Yeah.
He loses the biggest fight of his career, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, I said for a long time. I mean, I said that I think Wilder should get the big fights now, as in Fury and Joshua, straight away, because he's vulnerable to lose. Which, I mean, he's lucky that he had the two big massive paydays with Fury and a few other big fights in between. So he's multi-millionaire and he's 10 times over now.
Yeah. I think, like when he fought Ortiz, I think both times, first time he had 5 million. I think the second time he probably had around 8 million. I know that's dollars, but bloody hell, still not to be sniffed at, is it?
No, and I think I've been told by a few people in America the pay the American fighters get doesn't look as much as in this country, but they get a lot of money under the counter, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just for tax reasons.
Yeah, I don't understand how it all works, but I don't think the money they get is the true figure, is it, at the end?
Like in rugby, remember rugby years ago, before rugby went professional, they had tog money, where they put a little bit of money.
Oh, tog money. Was it about 500 quid a game tog money?
They put a bit of money in their rugby boots, didn't they?
You used to play rugby, Keith?
Years ago, like, I had a couple of games in the army and stuff like.
Yeah. Any good?
No, well, yeah, I was right, actually. I was too small, believe it or not. I used to be flanker, so I used to be quite fast and fit. But
nice. I always ask people this question, so I'm going to ask it now because it's obviously boxing related again.
Yeah.
If you could go back in a time machine, one fight would you go, I want to see that?
I would either say, as has already been mentioned tonight, Ali against Foreman.
Yeah.
Because I think historically, well, Muhammad Ali fighting an unbeatable fighter who can't lose, and for him to produce the performance he produced. No, the fight was a great fight, but it wasn't probably not the best of all time. But it was just the whole environment. Beating Zaire as well in Africa, all the politics of it as well. You're Don King, right in his first big fight promoting. So I'd say either that fight. Well, if I had a couple of time machines, I'd go for that one.
Yeah.
To see Jack Dempsey fight back in the days when you'd have like 100,000 people.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Like you've probably seen the pictures. We got like a tiny little boxing ring in the middle,
and then you got 100,000 people there.
Crowd, 100,000. I mean, the people in the real cheap seats, I mean, they must be just watching tiny little dots.
Yeah.
Thriller in Manila. Ali, Frazier, 3.
All old fights then.
Yeah.
All like the older fights. Tell who's I'm thinking about boxing knowledge. Tell who's actually, I mentioned him a couple of times, and I'm impressed. But tell who's got good boxing knowledge is Lily Mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
He's Lily, yeah. And he knows a lot about like old fighters as well. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, do you know what? It's one of those ones where you know what you know, and you like what you like. Yeah. And I haven't really gone back like that far, because for me, if I was going to say which one I'd like to go and see, which neither of my favourite fighters, right? But because of the history behind it and the way the fight got made, I would want to see Leonard Earns one.
Yeah. And
I watched the fight a couple of times. I think Sugar Ray Leonard was something like 25. Thomas Earns was about 22 or 23. And the fight was supposed to get made. If you've ever read The Four Kings, have you read The Four Kings?
Yeah, I read the book, yeah. I got
have you read the bit in The Four Kings where I think, what's his name? Bob Arum's on a cruise, and they tried to make the Sugar Ray Leonard Thomas Earns fight, and then he had a fax or something saying, we're about to sign for the fight. Think of this loosely, don't take it verbatim for any of the 10 fans that watch this, right? But basically, and then fucking, what's his name? Bob Arum nearly lost his shit because the fight nearly happened 2 years before. He's like, no. He was when he was 23 and 21, because Thomas Earns turned pro when he was something like 19. Yeah. And they were like, no, we've got to build this fight up. We've got to build it up. And they built it up and they fought. And if you've watched the documentary with Thomas Earns and Manuel Steele, you watched it on Box Nation. I'll send you the link after this, mate. Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. You see them both talking. I know you can see they're like a father and a son. They don't look at each other for the full hour. They're so proud of each other, right? And so Manuel Stewart talks about it, and he said Thomas Earns trained so hard for that fight. He always used to come and bang on weight. And Sugar Ray Leonard coming bang on 147. Thomas Earns coming 145 pounds. And Thomas Earns sets a ferocious pace in the fight. Got an unbelievable jab, and every punch Thomas Earns throws, he wants to take your head off. And he like blew a gasket, like, do you know what I mean? So it was like a tale of two halves. I think if it had gone the full distance, Earns would have won the fight. I think he was up on 2 of the scorecards. But I think he got stopped in something in the 13th round, was it?
13th round, lying on the
road. And it was a brilliant finish. And what's his name? Was that Sugar Ray Leonard's calling the ref in? But brilliant. So that would be my first one.
Blown it, son, you're blowing it.
Yeah, you're blowing it. Oh, that's brilliant piece of corner work from Angelo Dundee. The other one is...
So just to interrupt you there, Dar, the interesting fact about Tommy Earns, you probably know it, as an amateur, he wasn't a puncher.
How many fights did how many people did he knock out?
I can't remember. It was very low number, single figures, I think. Maybe 4 or 5, something like that.
No, 12.
12, was it?
Yes, he had 100 and... Yes, right. He had 165 fights, won something like 156 and only stopped 12. Mm. And when he turned pro, I think he knocked out 17 in a row.
Yes, yeah.
Who did he win his first world title against?
It was the Mexican who knocked out in the second round.
And what's his name?
Pino.
Was it Pepino Cuevas?
Something like that, yes.
I won't get my phone.
Yeah, it was. I'm not sure that's the correct pronunciation, but it's that's the guy.
And Cuevas was apparently was a really, really good fighter.
Did he box prior as well?
Not sure. Couldn't tell you. But my other two, because obviously we've got a couple of time machines. The other one would be, it'd have to be Earns.
Yeah.
And Richie Garner put something up again. I mentioned him a couple of times, like, and they call it, everyone calls it 3 rounds of mayhem. But when it first was announced, after that, it was called 8 minutes of mayhem. And the reason I know is because I had boxing news. I had a boxing news or Ring magazine. I had a poster almost the length of my door. And at the top of it, you can just see Agler throw in the last right hand, and no one earns his head, he's going the other way, and he's like bumbling across the ring. And at the top of it, it said 8 minutes of mayhem. So that would be the second one. And the third one, I probably would say, even though it was surrounded with a bit of controversy, I would watch a Aguayo Pryor one, because the finish is that was when they first had the banned boxing brigade. It was the advert to ban boxing, because it was just the finish the Pryor put on Aguayo was so brutal. And then Pryor, there's somebody with Aguayo after it. He's getting interviewed, and then he's like more or less crying, saying like, I was fighting for my life, there was nothing else I could do, sort of thing, you know. But
what was another fight as well that didn't wasn't there an accusation against Pryor that he took some sort of medicine in between one of the rounds, or a little bottle?
It happened a couple of rounds. What's the guy's name? Panama Lewis?
Panama Lewis, yeah, the guy who was banned for removing the padding of the other glove against...
what's the guy's name? The guy who committed suicide.
Irish Billy Collins.
Irish Billy Collins is sad. And to be honest, it is sad. And I think, like, prior to that, do 3 or 4 rounds, wouldn't he? And then he switched the bottle to the black bottle, and they reckon it had, like some amphetamine based in it. But then again, mate, you look at it, and there's a lot of controversy, but you even look at a lot of Pryor's fights. The ref rings the bell, and even like late on the fight night, he doesn't jump off a stool, he runs across the ring. Have you seen it? It's mad to watch, right? It's mad.
Clips and the sort of the sort of little videos.
Yeah, runs across the ring. Brilliant. I could talk about this all night, Ned. How long have we been talking?
I'm trying to work it out now. It's got to be at least an hour and maybe an hour and a half, perhaps.
Do you know what? Right, work has actually been quite stressful, but so this is a real welcome change. You've obviously paid, because I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zoom like 5-6 times a day every meetings. So I'm guessing you paid for a subscription on it, isn't it?
No. It's for as long as it's only 2 people, it's free.
Is it really?
Yeah. I think if you're more than 2 people for a meeting over 40 minutes, you've got to pay something. I'm not sure. It's just not much.
It's something like 11 quid a month, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so it's not a lot. But
class, man.
Class. All right, Dan. It's been excellent to chat with you, mate. I've answered out to a lot of questions I wanted to know before. Because I bump into different shows and we'd have a chat about different stuff. But no, it's been good to have a chat.
No, mate, I thoroughly enjoyed, and you've actually taken me away from the dreaded COVID-19, because I don't know about you, I've been in my house for nearly you could tell how excited I am. One, I love boxing. I don't mind the chat. We normally play this back. You might have to slow it down, because I talk quite fast tonight. But love boxing, but I've been in his house for about the best part of a month because I had to isolate for 7 days, 7 before lockdown, 7 days before lockdown. So it's been crazy. And obviously a few of the TTLO boys have tried to get me on a couple of times. And the AIC boys are really good friends of mine. And they've asked me on a few times. Those boys are too famous for me now. So, and to be honest with you, mate, I know the conversation with you is going to be pretty straightforward. Let's talk army, let's talk boxing. Hardly any swearing. You haven't sworn once, and I've sworn about 3 or 4 times, so you can deal with that.
Well, there are then. Do you listen to both those podcasts?
I got to be honest. I do neglect the TTLO boys. I know both boys. I know obviously Lily a little bit better. Di and Paul, 2 great boys. But they're bananas, aren't they? Sometimes I just think that the stuff they talk about, I listened to a lot of the early ones when I was in the States, and I know Lily talks about his otters and stuff like that. He's bananas. But they are really good boys. But I got to be honest, I lean more. I have leant more towards Ryan and Paddy. One, I'm a Swans fan. I'm more of a prawn sandwich brigade guy. I do like the boxing talk. I know a lot of the boys that they have on there, and I'll be honest, both podcasts got me. I spent a lot of time my own in the States. So, but I lean more towards the AIC, and I spend a bit more time with those boys through going to gigs and things like that. But both sets of boys are great boys, and obviously great for Lily and great for Di to win Best Welsh Boxing Podcast. Do you have anything to do with that?
No. Well, there's another story about that, but I'm not going to say it online. I can have to tell you another time. But
no worries, mate. But yeah, I listened to 2 of them. Both good boys. Both sets of boys are class people.
There we are, Dan. Okay, mate. I'm going to leave you go now. Brilliant to chat to you. I'll try and get this online as soon as possible. Might take a while.
No worries.
Probably the longest. This is actually probably the longest interview I've ever done.
Are you serious?
Seriously. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. I don't think I got another interview on my YouTube channel that's longer than this. So,
yeah, to be honest, right? So I said he was going to get 10 views. It's probably going to get 5 because people are going after 5 minutes. They're going to go. I'm not listening to another hour and a half of that. But mate, just put it down to COVID. You were bored. I haven't got. We both haven't got much human interaction. Let's put it down to that.
No, it's been good. Good to chat to you, mate.
Class, lovely to speak to you, mate. And I know. I'm sure we'll do it again soon. But have a good one. Stay safe. Take care.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Cheers, Dad.
Have a good one. Take care. Ta-ra.